Hello, Melanie. Okay, thank you so much for including your work here. I'm just going through your writing here. So with my first iteration of a banana project, after looking at smaller scale, I've noticed some kerning between the N and the A in the middle of the word. Does look like there may be more space. And that's a problem, yes, and you're onto something here. And that's a very, very excellent observation. Now, you recognize that space as being a little too wide. So what does that do to reading, Melanie? Naturally, if this space is a little wider, we're going to want to insert a break in there. That's what we do. I mean, when we see breaks in letters or words, we naturally want to pause. So what we do here is if there's an unnecessary large space right here, we would read this word as banana, as opposed to good spacing, which would render this word out as banana. Can you see what I mean? So that's the importance of letter spacing and as it follows through to word spacing and paragraph formatting. Ample spacing eliminates unnecessary spaces, and unnecessary spaces cause unnecessary breaks, which slows down reading and retention. That is why letter spacing is so important. Okay, so back to where we were. Two letters. I didn't draw a baseline and a cap line. That was a mistake, Melanie. I'll explain why in a second. I didn't draw a baseline and a cap line, but I thought I maybe could try and challenge myself without the use of the two. That's just too hard. I mean, I appreciate a good challenge as much as the next guy, but that is just a really daunting task. I'll explain why in a second. The B does look a little darker from the later in my opinion. From the lighting in my apartment, and also the last two A's, in my opinion, does not look consistent. Yeah, okay, so you're talking about consistency, and yeah, we want these letter forms to be as consistent as possible. So we could take a look at the original. There's a couple of things you want to look at. And one really great tip when you're drawing these out is to pay attention to the counter spaces. Okay, so this space within here, this is called closed bowl, and then this is called an open counter right here. Oh, this is also known as a closed counter, but this is an open counter. So if you take a look at the shapes, this is really a very definitive characteristic of these letter forms are the counter spaces. So it's the spaces inside the letters. So I think it's natural to want to attain perfect consistency here and perfection in the rendering of the letter form. So you really want to pay attention to these. And just get in there and trace and try. My recommendation is to trace out the hard line, the contour lines of the letters with a very, very hard lead, maybe even a mechanical pencil. Just trace those out. Then you can go back in and fill in the letters in black with a very light lead in your drawing pencils. And I think that will definitely preserve the consistency of the stroke widths. Another thing that you want to, and I talk about stroke widths, this Franklin Gothic has variable stroke widths. So as we can see right here, this A, see that little area right there is much thinner than this area here. We want it to pick that here. Conversely, this little area of the N right here, where this kind of shoulder branch meets the vertical stem, you want that. You see how thin that is right there as compared to this right here? So you want to depict that as well. Okay, so you've got pretty good, baseline, mean line, cap line. You got to draw the baseline, mean line, cap line. I mean, baseline looks like you got down really well. You do, but let's take a look at the mean line. The mean line's not bad, but if we can see, I'm putting this right where the mean line should be, right? But you have like this A right here, you can see how much taller it is than the other letter forms. Okay, so you definitely want to draw a baseline, mean line, cap line for your final iteration. Plus it's required, so we might as well stay true to the assignment objective, right? Okay, so letter spacing. So what we want to do here is this assignment asks for normal letter spacing, which would be considered to be like equal letter spacing between all the letters, right? But and that's great for a start, but we want to understand that the intent here is to make each of these spaces between the letters appear to hold the same amount of volume. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to follow this general rule. So the closest letter spacing is between two curved letter forms. Then the next widest letter spacing should be between a straight letter form and a curved letter form. And then the widest should be between two straight letter forms. And the reason is because you want to adjust this area between the letters. Okay, you want them all to look like they have equal volume. So as we can see, this shape right here has a lot more counter space involved than this one. So I mean, naturally, you would want to close this space down to reduce the amount of volume between these two letters and open this up a little bit to increase those amounts so that these appear to be consistent and equal. Okay, that's That's how we letter space. That's a general formula. Okay, so we have the whys and the hows. Now all we have to do is look at execution. So for your final iteration, let's follow those rules and guidelines I just gave, and then just really try to get these letter forms to be as consistent as possible, and try to get as identical as you can. And just notice one other area, this lowercase a right here. Look at the tail of the lowercase a right here. See how it kind of flares off to the right a little bit here, right there. But over here in that last A, it kind of falls short and it kind of curves the wrong way. Okay, then we also see this is kind of curving in here. This is kind of curving to the left here. So you really want to preserve your true verticals in the letter forms, especially interior stems of the letter forms. Okay, all right, so those are my recommendations. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But let's go ahead and shoot for those adjustments in our final submission coming up this Sunday. All right, again, Melanie, any questions at all, please let me know. Good job, thank you.